my husband to get up and feed the cat because apparently my cat did not appreciate that I took like 2 minutes longer to get out the door this morning. Like in the first week of Nano, as long as you're kind of on the roll and on that momentum and you're just kind of rolling, you've got enough of that initial excitement about the project to just kind of push ahead and just get all the words down. And then in the second week, you're still kind of coasting on that momentum. Week 3 though, week 3 is just where it all kind of starts falling down and you're in the middle of the slog and you cannot see the end and you're just like, I have no idea how I'm gonna get this done. Cannot function. Right now before tea. Welcome back to day 18 of NaNoWriMo and I'm so happy that it is ET day. I have tea, I'm psyched. I'm just gonna have to force myself to start getting words on the page for this next thing because I'm just like, oh, I literally do not know. They're in a new location. Everything is terrible. I feel like that is gonna be my motto this morning. Everything is terrible. And it is okay that everything is terrible.
Hey guys, it's Deborah with the third vlog of NaNoWriMo and I am just feeling so stuck at the moment. Oh, I am literally losing it.
This week, I revised my estimate up to 100,000 words and that just kind of made me feel like I was having to start Nano all over again, except this time I was starting more than 2 weeks late.
Early in the week, I was feeling really good because I passed 50,000 words and so I was like, yes, done, Nano goal achieved. And then ever since then, I've just really been struggling to get writing on the next part of the story. This morning I started with pretty much just a chapter heading and some very vague points about what these scenes in chapter 10 were going to be, and so I sacrificed sprint 1 on the altar of outlining and got to somewhere that I thought was, you know, pretty good. But as soon as I sat down and started trying to actually write the scene, I got into so much trouble. At the start of sprint 3, I even pulled out a scented candle and lit that, hoping that there would be some good vibes happening and that it would, oh, I don't know, strike inspiration or something like that. But that has absolutely not happened.
That was horrible for me, absolutely horrible. It was really slow. Slower than I have at any other time.
I'm just really struggling to keep going with this part of the story. In sprints 2 and 3, both, I have spent most of my time writing 2 scenes that I'm fairly convinced that when I get round to revision, I'm just going to cut those scenes out because they're just so terrible. They're out of supplies. They need to find food. They've been blown off course, and I'm just like, the conflict should all just be here. This should just kind of like write itself, but it is not writing itself. So I came out here to the park in hopes that it would jog something in my brain and hopefully give me a different perspective. So far, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have no idea what I'm going to be writing when I go back in 20 minutes. Something I have noticed about my earlier writing in the first 9 chapters, the writing that was going well, is I seem to be applying Sanderson's plotting framework, but at like a very micro level. I also think it is partly influenced by Stephen Erikson's concept of ringing the bell for each chapter. It's a narrative technique that I really like, but up until this point, I've been doing it somewhat instinctively. I know why these 2 scenes don't work. There is no clear upfront promise of what the scene is going to be. Without that promise, the scene feels kind of directionless. Even though I'm working really hard on showing progress in the scene, it's just not really coming across on the page.
I think the other reason why I am so stuck right now is the POV character needs to figure out some answers and she's kind of got no real way to go about getting those answers. At this stage, I can't really construct a try-fail cycle that is going to advance the overall plot, but still feel consistent with what that character would actually do and who they are. My walk was very nice, but yielded no further inspiration on how to proceed in chapter 10. I am so screwed, guys. It's not even anything wrong with the try-fail cycle model that I've been using. In the previous chapters, the previous 9 chapters, which I've been more or less happy with, placeholders notwithstanding. There is a very clear signal of the kind of chapter that it is going to be and the kind of scenes in that chapter. And therefore, as you're reading through each of the scenes, there is a very clear marker of progress being made by the POV character towards that payoff. But chapter 10 is kind of weird. The start of chapter 10 is actually the denouement to the arc that was ended in chapter 9, and there is a conflict that is happening at the minute because obviously the next question after the storm is like, how do we get out of this situation? I feel like I've set up the promise up front, except it's also a little bit of a time skip chapter. The problem is the POV character, my protagonist, is not a person who would be in any sort of position to be involved in any of those conversations. She kind of lost a friend overboard. From her perspective, it's more about dealing with that loss. So writing from her POV has been extremely tricky.
The epic fantasy author's answer is add a viewpoint.
I am writing fantasy, so I have been thinking about maybe sneaking a different POV just in there, just so I can kind of get myself out of this this quandary that I'm in.
That is usually bad advice for most genres. In this case, do as I say, not as I do.
But the other part of me is just like, that would just be lazy writing. I was just gonna come back and put my hands on the keyboard and try not to judge myself too hard on the crap, the absolute crap that is going to come out of my fingers and into the words that go onto the page. That is the plan. I guess it was kind of naive for me to expect that I could just kind of sail on through all of Nano smoothly. Maybe I used up all of my good Nano karma in the first half of Nano, and the next 2 weeks are just gonna be like totally miserable. I just kind of need to not be so outcomes focused at the moment and just focus on the fact that there was a process. I have followed through with my process. What matters is the process. I should just trust in the process and trust that eventually, if I am consistent with the process, I will get better and the process will deliver results. Even though I may not be happy with the words that are coming out at the end of the day, as long as I am getting my butt in my chair and writing some words every single day, that is what matters. Because that kind of consistent, regular writing habit, even when I do not feel like writing anything whatsoever, that is the keystone habit that is going to help me become a successful self-published author. Oh, that last sprint was not good for me. I may need to resort to ice cream. I didn't really do anything today, so I kind of feel like I don't merit the reward in my little habit loop. I'm pretty sure when you do a habit loop and you set up the reward, you're meant to focus on the fact that you have completed the habit loop, which means I should get the reward, even though like the other part of my brain is just like, you don't deserve a reward, that was not a good writing session. My psychologist tells me that feelings are like buses. You can sit at the bus stop and watch the bus just go by. You do not have to get on the bus because you can tell by looking at the bus where that bus is going to take you. And if it's not taking you to a place that you want to go, do not get on the bus. So I'm just going to watch that bus go by and I'm not going to get on it. I'm not going to get on it. I'm going to go get some ice cream. That's what I'm going to do. I am not feeling so great right now, and I still have no idea what I am going to do tomorrow. I feel like all of those 1800 words are going to need to be deleted in revision because the scenes are just not going anywhere and I do not know how to salvage it. Right now, I'm just operating under the assumption of if I just keep writing words, all of the terrible words will come out, and then after the terrible words, surely there are going to be some good words, or at least okay words that I will not hate immediately after I write them. This is the reason why when I set my goals originally, I was just like, I'm aiming for 75,000 words. Because I do not think at this stage of my writing journey, I have the skills and the experience to pull off a story that requires 100 or 120,000 words. My original goal of 75,000 I still think is totally achievable as long as I don't overthink stuff, but there is no way I am finishing this story by the end of the month, and I will be writing into December. This isn't even the good ice cream, it's like the cheap Neapolitan $4 ice cream from the grocery store, but that is all I have in my freezer, and it feels very apropos. The nano gods are not with me today.
But here we are. I am committed. I shall see this through, even if I get to the end of it and just go, I cannot publish this thing because it is just not ready. That would really suck. But Brandon Sanderson himself did write 13 novels before he had one that he was happy to publish. So that is fine and normal, and it will all have been a learning experience. So yeah. Do I sound convincing? Because I'm not really sure that I am being successful in convincing myself. Let me know in the comments how your NaNoWriMo is going. I would love to hear whether you are struggling as well in week 3 or whether you are going smoothly and the end is already in sight for you. I don't want to stop writing completely because I feel like it is important that I keep adding to the word count every single day. But at the same time, maybe I just kind of need to back off the pressure on myself a little bit and just be okay. Be okay if I am stuck, because that is part of the creative process. What are some of the techniques that work for you when you're stuck? Let me know in the comments because I'd love to hear them so that I can try them out. One more week of Nano left, so I will let you guys know how I'm all doing next week. In the meantime, I'm going to put a different video here for you so you can watch that next.